Hello, everybody. Star and Flurry here. It's been a very long time. It's been a very busy summer for me. And every time I think about doing a video, I'm like, I don't even know what to say. It's just so much going on. But welcome back, and I'm glad you're here. And I'm sorry my hat is crooked, but, uh, Kamala is who I'm rooting for this season. And if you I have no interest in getting in any political discussions, so I won't engage anybody in politics in the comments. If you choose to make a comment, please don't. I try to be nice about this, but I've made up my mind. I'm not going to be convinced otherwise, as anybody who doesn't agree with me will not be convinced otherwise either, in my opinion. At least the ones that I have come into contact with so far. So, end of story. I mean, the real thing is vote. That's the important thing. Let your vote be cast or counted. Be diligent in making sure that you are on the rolls, because there's many states that are working hard to get people off the rolls for nebulous reasons. So it's just important that you vote. I just had a very good time this weekend watching the Psychathon. Did anybody else see that? It was presented by a woman named Deborah. I can't remember her last name, but there were a lot of familiar faces on it. They were on for 24 hours. Putting together donations for Kamala Wall's campaign, Harris Wall's campaign, and I think they came close to 10,000. I think I didn't get the final number, but I think they were awfully close the last time I checked in, so that was exciting. So today I'm not going to talk politics, because that's not what this is about, but I don't want to be quiet about my opinion on this either, because that would be crazy, because it's going to come up. So I just want to state that up front. But I'm also not going to sit here and bash the other side, because that's not what I'm about either. I am looking at policies and who I think best satisfies my interpretation of where this country should be going in the future. Even though I have no children, I have a great interest in the future of this country, and because it's been generally good to me, and I would like to see it continue. And I would like to see women get their rights back. I think full bodily autonomy is important, and I don't want some politician in my doctor's office with me guiding me on particulars, because it's none of their frickin' business. So I start talking my opinion, my nose starts running, so bear with me. But anyways, so that's the deal. So again, no politics. It aligns with my personal opinions, and that's why I'm voting in that direction. And if you're voting in another direction, God bless you. I say go ahead and do whatever you believe is right, and I think it's important that you do. So go for it. Vote. That's the most important thing. So what's been going on? Well, a tree update for those of you at all interested, which probably not, is that it was dying again. It was getting brown, and this is my new tree. Short story, I had one tree, killed it, found out there was a huge leak in my irrigation. We got that all fixed, bought a new tree, and suddenly it's turning brown. The other one didn't turn brown, it was getting overwatered. I drowned it. This one suddenly isn't getting enough water, even though it's on the irrigation. So I ended up having to call the company, blah, going on and on and on. And this time I was smart. Last time I bought the tree from one group and then had a different company plant it, because the tree people were not, it was kind of in the middle of COVID, and they didn't have the staff to do it. Now they do. So I thought, well, better to keep it all in one group. So that's what I did. By the way, I've got Harry Potter on in the front, so that's the light reflections you're seeing back here. Is movie stuff going on. Anyways, so I got the tree, got it in, started turning brown. Gee, bus again. It's just not meant to be, I guess. I'm gonna move this down just a little bit. I guess it's just not meant to be. And but then I did some reading, because I was trying to figure out it seemed like it was diseased, but the company that I bought it from just assured me it wasn't. It said just not getting enough water, and I'm like, It's getting irrigated every day. What the hey? So I went onto the web and did my WebMD for trees, and found out that yes, in fact, it probably was a watering issue. It was not going to be detrimental to the tree. It was going to have no lasting effects, but start watering the frick out of it. And so I did, and that halted whatever was going on. So I'm very happy. It seems to be very happy. Knock wood, knock lucky wood. We'll see what happens. And I go through again another winter looking at my tree, which will drop its leaves soon. Not yet; it hasn't even started turning colors yet. But and all winter waiting to see if it'll bud out in the summer. This is a completely different scenario than what I was dealing with the last time. Sorry again, I keep hitting this. So hopefully we'll be good. We'll see. Let's hope. What else? So I had written down. I made a couple of notes because I always go on and on and on about crap, and I forget the stuff that's important. Well, that I think I should talk about. Okay, talked about voting. Speaking of which, oops, I wanted to make a comment about both Trump's and Harris's apparent interest in stopping taxes on tips. And I was in hospitality for 45 years. Many of those years I was earning tips. And many of those years I was earning tips untaxed. And I didn't think anything about it, and I was being tipped when the whole discussion came up about taxing tips. And I was really pissed when that all went through. Because I thought, God, we're barely earning any money anyways, and now you're taxing more. But the truth is that a guy sitting at the bar I happened to be working at said to me, why is your income different than mine? I'm not making a lot of money, and yet I'm taxed on every coin of it. And you're not. What makes you special? And I was at the time, actually still am, living in a state that does not, yes, I was earning minimum wage, but it wasn't below minimum wage. It wasn't as, and I know there's states out there that still pay $2.13 an hour or something like that, which should be a federal offense. I was earning minimum wage, but it certainly wasn't that. And so that hit me hard because he was right. I mean, I was making a good income. I was paying my rent. I was paying, saving a little bit, not a lot, but a little. I was fresh out of college. I wasn't in my, I was trying to earn my way into the business, and so, but he was right. I was making income and not being taxed on it like every other American worker was, and that made sense to me. So fast forward to today. My opinion on this whole thing, for instance, in Seattle, the the minimum wage now for workers there, no matter what you're doing, is like $17, $18 an hour. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know when I left, it had just bumped up to $15 an hour for any hourly worker. And while restaurants get such a bad rap, that was not that anyone in Seattle was paying less than official minimum wage for the state or for federal. We certainly weren't paying less. And tips were, at least in the bigger restaurants, fantastic. And the changes that occurred for a lot of the workers that I worked with, back in my day, if you were a tip worker trying to get a loan for a car, trying to get, okay, so let me back up. You were required by law to declare your tips as income, but no one ever did, and they never came back because no one recorded it. It was almost all cash, almost all of it. And, as the economy started to turn to more plastic cards, I think what am I trying to say? That the federal government realized they could really start to track it well, and that it was time to start tipping it, and we all fought it really strongly. But in the end, I think that was the correct move. Come after me if you want. And I was in the business, so and I was earning tips at that point when that happened. Most of my colleagues did not agree with me, but C'est la vie. I lived with an accountant most of my life. So, so I believed in being honest and upfront. Anyways, so I think the laws, such as they are, should be that no state in the United States should be allowed to pay less than federal minimum wage, regardless of whether it's a tip position or not. Now, the federal minimum wage is sorely lacking. It's been $7, I think, $7.25 for like ever. That needs to change. But no state should be allowed to pay less than that because it's a tipped employee. So any state that's doing that should be required by law not to do that. Oh, so let me get back to what I was saying. Is that what we all found out, and at that point I was moving into management, and so I was no longer a tipped employee and paying full taxes on all of my earnings. I had a lot of friends in the business who were still being tipped who couldn't get a car loan. They couldn't get anything because none of their income was documented. And the banks weren't willing to say, oh, you make $100 a night in tips? Yeah, prove it. Show me some official docs. And they couldn't do that. So the one thing that changed drastically for tipped employees when it started to be required to be documented, number one, the employers began having to pay. That's why they didn't want it either, but they began paying Social Security taxes, matching, on any tips that were earned by an employee, and the employee is paying taxes on any earnings that they made, and that's being documented. So when they went to the bank to say, I would like to buy a car, the bank said, show me your income, and boom, here's my W-4 form, and it's all on there. So it's no longer this nebulous tips that you maybe casually said that you earned or not. I mean, everybody declared a little bit because it looked dumb if you didn't, but they never declared the whole thing. I certainly never did. I don't think anybody else did. Hopefully the statute of limitations is over on that. I think it is. But so it changed a lot of people's lives in that regard. And so I still believe that tips are income, and it needs to be taxed just like any other, because in the long run, it's good for the employee as well. It's just good for the employee in terms of documenting their income so that they can put their money to work in better ways. For instance, purchasing a home or something like that. That was unheard of in my day and age for a tipped employee because none of our income was ever documented. I mean, I was making good money every month, but nobody else knew it except me. And I can't walk into a bank and expect them to trust me on that. Really? No, trust me on this. Give me a great loan. They won't, forget it. Not only would I not get a loan, not only would I not get a good rate, I wouldn't get the loan. So I think it changed a lot of the way people in the hospitality industry, tipped employees, were able to function in their lives, and I saw a lot of them do exactly that. Back in the day when you could buy a home on that income. I don't know if you could do that now, but at the time you could, and many did because they were able to finally prove that that was the money they were making. So I still think that should stay in place. I don't understand that. But states that pay less than minimum wage because someone is a tipped employee, no. They should pay federal minimum wage, absolutely, and the federal minimum wage needs to go up. Because, come on, $7.25 an hour. It hasn't changed literally in 20 years or 30. I don't know the figures, but I know I looked it up at one point and I was shocked. So, fix that. Fix that. Harrison Walls, when you get into office, please. Thank you. And hopefully we have a House and a Senate that can make something like that happen. I don't even know if they do that kind of stuff, but if they do, let's make it happen. So my phone's doing weird things. I don't know why. Okay. It's alerting me that there's YouTube notifications. It's like, no. So the next thing is, okay, so I did something crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. Tammy Pie may be shocked I did this. Hello, girl. Hey, Tamara. So I announced to very few people back in June, I think it was, that I sold my camper van. There were a lot of specific reasons why I did that. And I did okay. I did in the long run. I didn't lose a lot of money. So Yahoo, and I put that money aside. I was very thankful for the smooth transaction, and I put that money aside to kind of, now what am I going to do? And I can be, if I can be, I am being honest with you guys here, more so than I've been with my family. I regretted it the day I did it. The day it sold, I was relieved and regretful in one fell swoop. I was so sad I didn't have the joy of being able to run around in it when I wanted to, or take it, do whatever. And yet I was relieved that I didn't have to frickin' deal with winterization. I didn't have to deal with taking it for runarounds when I wasn't going on any kind of things, because you kind of have to run these things around. They need the battery charge up, and the newer ones are lithium. Your whole system runs on the fact that you're driving it. And so if you're not driving it, then that's not good. And so anyway, so and getting through winter is a tough thing. Well, I finally learned how to winterize it. That was just stupid. I didn't do it for 2 years. Broke pipes for 2 years. Major repairs. Absolutely astounded that it didn't cost more than it did. But nonetheless, it was just always that worry in the back of your mind. So I got that problem solved this winter. But in the end, this spring, I want to be done. I'm a solo female traveler. It makes me nervous to camp on my own. Solve that problem by camping with others. That is the last thing I want to do. So there's just like no solution. Or in my mind, there was no solution. But on the other hand, I regretted it forever. I was just regretting it the whole time, and the last few months have just been, I really want to take a run around. I really want to go here. I want to go there. Blah blah blah. And these are not long distance. I'm not talking about long distance camping for 5-day travels. I'm talking about day journeys. That's where it's really fun to have a fridge and a bathroom with you. It's just the convenience is freaking awesome. So and a place to lie down and take a nap if you want to. Whatever. So I really, 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 really missed that. So then I'm watching some YouTube van lifer, because I still really enjoy those videos, and she's talking about security that she added to her van. And it's like, why didn't I think of this? There are interior locks you can put on your passenger and driver's side doors, so even if somebody picks the lock, that was always my fear, that somebody would pick the lock, jump in the driver's seat, force me to give them the keys and drive off with me and do whatever. But these locks actually lock from the inside with a key, so no one can get in or out even if they pick your lock. They'd have to break the window. And here's the deal. The whole thing about security in any camper van, especially for a solo female traveler, is all about buying time to get in the driver's seat and go. Because you always have your keys in the same place all the time. All the time. First lesson I learned. If you need to get up and go, and I would practice it. If you need to get up and go, you get up, you grab those keys, and you go. And that's and so all of these deterrents are based on the fact that you have time to do that. Be it 5 seconds or 10 seconds is better than no seconds. And so that's what these deterrents are about. It's not necessarily to deter people from breaking in. It's to keep them from breaking in long enough for you to be able to get away. Because that's your getaway vehicle too. So I watched this woman on YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't I even know those existed? I can't believe I didn't think to ask if those existed. And they do. And then you can do kind of a hook and, kind of like almost a gate lock, like an old-fashioned lock that you would, where there's a round thing like this and a hook like this, and you just slam it down. You could do that on your slider. You want to be able to make sure that you can get out easily if something is going on inside that you want out of, be it a fire or some kind of significant emergency, or if somebody has broken in through, let's say, your driver's side and you can't get out, you want to be able to flip that and get out, run. So that you don't have to fuss with locks or anything like that. You just want someone to be able to flip it out. So that's available, and then you can do the same thing on your rear. So once I figured that out, I was like, well, why didn't I think of that? And now I have physical things I can do outside of bear spray and whatever, mace and sirens and all the other stuff I had. I have, um, sorry, this is, there we go. And now I have things that can keep me safe at night. And that was my biggest issue. My other issue was I spent a lot of time camping in cheaper places, to places that either that I didn't have to pay for or that were super cheap. And the trick is, no, pay for a good park to park in. If you want to do that, pay for it. It's not that much. It's like $60. It's far less than a hotel, but you're also, a lot of the aren't spending the $60 to go bother you. And so you're generally, in the bigger RV parks. The one I stayed at down near Pismo Beach, I can't remember what the dunes, something or other. It was stunning. But I got in there and the people were, I think I told that story, but I had such a hard time. It was nighttime. I'd gotten there late. I couldn't find I'd had reserved a spot. I couldn't, and I remember at the time thinking, I'm reserving this for money. I should be able to do this for free. But I remember when I got in there, I was like, oh, this is nice. And then when I rolled down my window, I said, I need help. People came from everywhere to help me find my spot. Because the RV parks are notorious for being not well lit. And you can't see I was assigned a specific spot and I couldn't see the numbers. And so people came out of the woodwork to help me find that spot, help me back into my spot. It was amazing. And they were all wonderful people. And I was like, okay, this, was a far cry from the free places I was staying, where I pay a yearly fee. I won't mention their name. You all know who it is if you do this. Where you get to pay. But the deal is that the people that I was parking next to in those parks had been there for years. They were planted. They had their territory. Don't walk here. They had it was a whole different situation. I remember in Portland, I was at one of these parks that got I don't know what the rating was. I thought it was okay, but I literally was parking to somebody next door to somebody who had clearly been there for years. And these parks are not meant to be livable spots. They are supposed to be temporary, a day or two or three or whatever. This guy had been there forever. And the whole park was just like an empty basketball court that's with grass growing up it was, if you can think about that, wind blowing through the cracks in the pavement, dandelions coming up through the pavement, basketball hoops, the chain links clanking, flagpole with no flag. I mean, that kind of desolate, horrible feeling. And I got in my van, I locked everything, but I still wasn't sure that the locks would survive, that I would survive that. I get so anxious in these situations that I ended up crashing out completely, which was good. And then woke up the next morning, it was gone at 7. And normally I lollygag, get a coffee, make a coffee, make some toast, make some breakfast. I was gone. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And then so it was, security was a struggle, and it's taken me a while to piece together what would make it work for me. And so number one is camper van security, and number two is giving up the idea of just camping for free. Give that up. In fact, worst case scenario, camp at a freaking hotel. Go to a hotel, get the hotel room. It's no big deal. No one is out there judging you for how you are choosing to camp. I mean, I found that dragging this stuff along with me was really fun, especially during the day. I could stop wherever I wanted. I could have lunch wherever I wanted. I didn't have to rely on restrooms in rest stops. I didn't have to rely on any of that. I had all of that with me. Restaurants, I just had all of that with me. And the internet, I had that with me too. So it was just this traveling little nest that I loved. And yet it was the night times that were the hardest for me to work around. And in the end, my best camping was when I kind of let go of that idea for a night or two and just got a hotel room. Doesn't have to be expensive, but just somewhere to park where there are other people around that are paying money for where they're staying. It just eases it's a filter of safety, not a great filter of safety, but it is a filter, which is far better than these free campsites. And so and then if worse comes to worse, you just go to the hotel room, lock your security deadbolt, and you're good. Wave at the security people at the front desk as you go by. There are solutions to this. And I think my biggest conflict was wanting that solo van life parking wherever when in fact that doesn't work for me. But I was shaming myself for doing things like parking, like getting a hotel room or doing that kind of thing because you have this van. That's where you should be. And once I kind of reconciled with the fact that that's not the case, and it's about my own safety, that's what I need to worry about, and my own comfort level, that it's okay to do that. That nobody on my shoulder saying, you're not doing it right. So so there's that. So I sold my camper because of all those things, and then I started to not started. I regretted it immediately, and I started to talk myself into figuring out how I could do it again because I wanted to do it again. I wanted a second chance to be smarter about this whole thing. And one of my biggest things on my bucket list is to drive across the United States. And it's coming up next summer because Ichiro Suzuki, I'm a huge Seattle Mariners fan, and I went to the Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame induction of Ken Griffey Jr., and I went to watch Edgar Martinez get into the Baseball Hall of Fame as well, and I've been waiting for 3 or 4 years to see Ichiro. Knockwood, he gets in on the first ballot. Ichiro Suzuki to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I wanted to be there. And I've already made plans with my friend in New York, in Rochester, to go. And I've already made a reservation just outside of Cooperstown to make sure I had a hotel. This is happening in July of 2025. So I'm going back and forth about how I'm going to get there. For those who don't know, I don't fly. I absolutely, I just know. I could take drugs, I assume, and get on a plane and go, but no, I just don't want to get on a plane. It wrecks the trip for me. It might be okay on the way to wherever I'm going, but then I spend the whole trip worrying about the fact that I have to get back on a plane to get back. So in the few times I've done that, it was just a horrible miss. I was safe. I flew fine, but it made the trip horrible. And I don't want to spend money on a trip like this and have it be horrible. So I started thinking about how am I going to, Amtrak, how am I going to do this? And so I thought, well, I'll drive down to LA, leave my car with my brother, get on the Southwest Chief, which I've never been on in Amtrak. I've been the Empire Builder, Pacific Coast, Starlight, and the Lakeshore Limited, but I've never been on the Southwest Chief. And so I thought that would be fun. And it literally takes you, if this is the United States and I'm here, how would this go? I'm on the West Coast, down here in LA, and it drives you right up to Chicago, just right through all the middle states. Boom, you land in Chicago, and then you take the Lakeshore Limited the rest of the way to Rochester, where I'd meet up with my friends, and then drive down to Cooperstown. But Amtrak is freaking expensive, and it's long, and it's an arduous journey, and I'll be honest, I still mask in interior situations, and the idea of having a mask throughout that whole trip was bothersome. I don't like to dine with other people, so the service has just gone downhill generally on Amtrak. It used to be great; you could order your complimentary meal to have it brought to your room. And in the last 2 trips I made, I had to fight to make that happen. And then when it did, it came cold, and it's slopped around. It just was not what it used to be. And for the money that you're spending, I didn't think that was correct. But I thought if that's what it takes for me to get to Cooperstown, then that's what I'll do. So combine that. So that whole thing is crashing into my regret of selling my van. And so what I did is I just bought another one. I took the money that I'd squirreled away from selling my first one, and I got a I didn't, it's like it's like getting a new vehicle and then selling it 2 years later. You're going to take some depreciation. But camper vans, especially this particular kind, is well respected and highly received, and I did not take a great loss on it. I took a loss, to be honest, but not a great loss. So, as I said, I squirreled that money away, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with this now? And so it ends up that I decided to buy another camper van. And I did a little bit of an upgrade. I had a Ford Transit van first round with, which is great because it's gasoline and easy. What's the word for it? Easy maintenance, that kind of stuff. Um, but the resale value is the depreciation on it is much faster than the top of the line campers, which are the Mercedes Sprinter vans. And so I'd had my eye originally when I originally was looking into getting vans way back when before I bought my first one. This particular van was high on my radar, but was just the nice thing about it, it's really small and it's thin, so you can just park in a regular parking spot. It's not hard to go into a grocery store parking lot or anywhere and park. It's really easy. It's not a big frickin' thing that takes up a bunch of space. Just a little camper van. 19 and a half feet, I think. 19 feet. So that's the one I originally looked at. The one I ended up getting was more like 20 feet. A little more arduous to move around. And 6 inches there's a big difference. Interior and exteriorly. So anyways, God, I've just got so much to say about this, and I know this is going on way too long. But anyways, so I just it was like a lightning bolt hit me the other day, and it said, "Why don't you check out and see if there's any of these littler ones available?" And I was actually the previous one I bought was used. I got I think a fair deal on it. And I thought, and I'm not opposed to buying used vehicles, used camper vans, as long as they're in really good shape and low miles. Well, no. The only ones that were available were the big long ones, 22 feet or something like that. And I was like, I don't want to drive a semi. I mean, that's how I feel about those things. Those are long, 2 feet, 2.5 extra feet. Yeah, you could pack a lot more into the interior, but no. So, anyways, this company had 2 of the little ones, which was really unusual because they're just not available that often. And so I called them up to see if they were even available. This company, I've had run-ins with them before, not this particular location, but another one, where I ended up buying my first van. It was just a nightmare, and I was just hesitant to go back to them, but they were the ones who took care of consigning my van when I sold it, and they were so wonderful. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give them a second chance. And I don't know if I ever told this lengthy story, and I won't here, but I will tell you that there was one guy at this place that was great, and he walked me through so much of what the other place was not doing. And the best way to describe what was going on in this other place is the van. I had bought the van. They had their money. We were trying to figure out everything else. And halfway through, I finally meet the sales guy who's supposedly taking care of my transaction, and he asked me what my name is. I'd been working with this guy for a week and a half, via text and email and phone calls. And I finally drive up there to meet up with the team of sales specialists, and he goes, "Hi, I won't use his real name. Hi, I'm Eric. And what's your name?" And I remember just going, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And even his boss was sitting right there. And he's like, "Oh, right." And I was like, okay, this sucks. So it was not a good experience up there in any way, shape, or form involving anything that they had to touch on the whole thing. So, but I gave it a second chance, and I've been very well treated at this particular, and I'm not talking about treat, I'm talking about just general customer service. Being there when you make an appointment, that's important. Knowing your name, that's important. You're about to spend a hefty chunk of change. It would be nice if they remembered your freaking name. I'm not asking for the carpet to be rolled out. Although I understand they do that, but whatever. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking to be treated like a human being who's about to spend a chunk of money. There's nothing wrong with that. And you don't need to extend me anything special. Just be nice. Be responsive. Answer my questions in a timely manner. These are not hard things to do. But for that other place, yeah, big time hard. I let him know after the fact, and that's the other person said that. I'm probably on some blacklist with this company, but no, they run very differently, so that was good to know. Anyways, so I go to this place yesterday. I call them up. Yes, they're available. When do you want to look at them? And I'm like, these things are not going to last. I just know it. And plus, they were slated to go to an RV show. That's why they were on the lot. They're next year's models, and I thought these are going to be gone in a heartbeat. And so, but they were there, so I went. So I actually drove over. It's about 2.5 hour drive through the beautiful mountains of Oregon, and I went over there and I took a test drive, and I loved it. I mean, oh my God, the this particular what am I trying to say? It's a Mercedes Sprinter versus a Ford Transit. Just that alone, the upgrade is pretty freaking amazing. And then a lot of things that I had seen on the manufacturer's website, which I was like, ugh, why did they do that? It was not the case in the van, so I was very happy about that. Like a sink in the bathroom. Bathrooms are really small. It's a wet bath. They're really small, but on the website it says that they have a sink in them. I'm like, why? There's you open up the door, the kitchen sink is right there. What's the problem? And in these little vans, it's not like you're carrying a family of 4. I get it if you've got a family in there that you want a second sink, but in this case, no. These vans are probably only 2 people, if that. So it bothered me that it had a sink in there. I'm like, why? And like my previous van did not. They had taken it out, and the guy was like, sorry about that. And I said, no, come on, that makes total sense. So I was very happy to find that was not the case in this van. Just little stuff like that. And so I took a test drive in the one. So there were 2 colors. The one color was just gorgeous. It's this ivory. I don't even know what they call it. It was beautiful. And that's the one I test drove, and it was really nice. But the interior was so kind of banged up. It was brand new, and they detail everything out down the road. And then I know this sounds so inane, but it has this beautiful Corian kitchen countertop, and this one was like a smoke marble or something. But it literally, and I told the guy, they're going to clean this, right? Because somebody had sooty hands and just swiped across just one corner of this kitchen counter, and it just looked bad. It looked dirty. And come to find out that no, that was just how that was the nature of that particular cut of Corian. And I remember thinking, now I love the look on the outside of the vehicle, but I did not care for the inside part of it. And I knew that smudge, what looked like a smudge, was going to drive me crazy. I do hate that about myself, but little things like that you can't do anything about, and when you know them up front, and you kind of go, it's kind of like it's like meeting, having a boy, meeting a guy and dating him for a while, and there's these few little things, that kind of quirky things that you're like, well, that's odd. I don't like that. No, but he's so sweet, and I'll get along. And then a month down the road, 2 months down the road, you're like, God, that's freaking annoying. Well. Those kind of things never work out. Well, that's the way it was. I knew that was going to be the way it was. I was going to hate it. So, and plus, it was a whiter interior with gray upholstery, which I didn't care for the gray. It was just kind of, I don't know. The whole thing was dirty looking. I didn't like it, but I love the exterior. Yeah, it was beautiful. So I took a look at the other one, which was very similar to my previous van. Just silver on the outside, but this lovely kind of champagne color, what they call champagne, and more ivory on the inside, and the upholstery was kind of a cream. They call it champagne again, cream color. It was just lighter, brighter, and the Corian countertop was just clean and pretty. And I don't mean white like every time you look at it you're going to see a smudge, but it was just brighter. And so it ended up, I didn't end up driving that one because they're about the same, knock wood. But I ended up deciding on the silver one, and I called him this morning, and we worked it out, and now I'm going through the classic frickin' car dealer. Well, you want this and this and this, and we're gonna this and this and blah blah blah. And I added up one of the and what they do is they wrap it into. What I'm going to do. It's way too much information, but the deal is I can get a much better deal if I finance with them. Of course you can, because they're making money on the back end, so that's fine. And then I'll just pay it off. If you're going to do that, stick with it for about 6 months or so. Pay that. The 6 months worth of interest is going to easily pay for the discount I'm getting for doing this. So no big deal there. But then they add on all this other crap, which when you're looking at it, it's only like $50 more a month. You can't do it. But then you look at the extent of the loan and how much that $20 or $30 is over a period of time. It turns out to be like $20,000 for an extended thing or a special coating on your car. I was like, no, not doing that. And I told the guy that, and yet he still sends me this kind of, as we're kind of getting everything organized, he sends me all this written paperwork about how it's going to be this. And I wrote him back and I said, no, it's not going to be that, and this is why. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, I haven't heard back from him. But it's Labor Day, after all. I don't think he was there the whole day. And that's fine. But, those are the kind of things. God, I hate that. I wish they would just... here are the things we offer. Is there anyone that interests you? Let me tell you how they benefit you in any way. And this is what they cost. And if you'd like to roll them into your loan, fine. If you'd like to pay for them separately, fine. Just, because I literally took when they sent me this loan amount, whatever, and then I took the special stuff they added, and they down at the bottom of that, they would say this is your loan monthly price, and then down here they would say this is what it would be if you bought this. And you take the difference and you multiply it out by the loan terms, by the year terms. It's like, no, I'm way overpaying for that stuff. Just pay for it outright. Don't frickin' let them roll it into the loan. This stuff, that really annoys the frick out of me when they do this, and I still get screwed over. I always think when I go into these situations that I've got it down, and then at the end when I go back and turn around and look at it, I'm like, I got fucked over here. Excuse my French. So I'm hoping to minimize that this time around, which I think I will. I mean, in the long run, but anyways, I could go on and on, but I'm not going to. So we're totally 40 minutes in. Oh my God, this is going to be an hour. So I wanted to talk briefly about some decks that I'm really loving right now, and it's scary how much I'm loving them. I think I figured out. I get intrigued by decks, tarot decks that appeal to me artistically. And any revival art, any of that is just, I'm a sucker for that stuff, even if it doesn't even match whatever the card is supposed to be, although many try to do it well. But it doesn't matter to me. I love them all. But I am trying to understand because I have a bunch of decks that I just don't use, and I think at some point I'm going to open up, go through, after all, I have a van to pay for, an Etsy shop that just lists them all for like $20 or whatever, just buy whatever. Except hopefully I'll be smart enough to pay attention to ones that I think I probably have many that are out of print that are, I won't say valuable, but they're certainly not $20 decks. And I'm quite kind to my decks, so these are all virtually brand new. Boxes with guidebooks, all of that. And I'll probably start doing that down the road, but that's not happening anytime soon. But and certainly not for any of the decks I'm about to talk about today. But yeah, so right now, one that just came, I've had it for a while, but it just, I was watching Hermit's Cave, as usual, and he was doing a comparison between the Osho Zen and the Sacred She Tarot, and I was like, I have that deck, and I don't know if I really looked at it, because I think once I found out it was done by Osho Zen, Osho Zen is not my favorite deck. I mean, I finally figured out kind of, well, first of all, it's I think more Thoth related than anything else, but which throws me off. And it also has a card of the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. I was in Portland during that whole debacle when they kind of took over Antelope, Washington, and it was just not good. So I have bad feelings about that deck. And when I found out this was done by the same person, I think I kind of just put it aside. I'll get to it. But when Simon went over it today, I was like, ooh, they've solved a lot of the, well, not solved issues, they've just changed them to a point where I think I can, pardon me, kind of get along with them. And so I just had some fun today playing with it. And oh my god, I love it. So these are the backs. They're very cool. And I won't show a lot of them, but the cards are stunning. And they yes, many of them are renamed, but not enough so you don't know what it is. I mean, this is a star card. You look at understanding. I would think more hope. Um, something along those lines, but they put understanding. But if you look at it for a moment, well, first of all, you know by the number, but secondly, you know by the what am I trying to say? By the image. And the panels down here are they're very similar to Oshozen, except for the pentacles, which are now green instead of rainbow, which makes a whole lot more sense. And then I'm going to show this again. The majors are purple. So the tower, which I love, is crisis. Timing, 7 of pentacles, because of the green banner. Swords. And then the instead of page, knight, queen, king, it's 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is the page of swords. Which I see. I have to really. I haven't gone through this deck thoroughly. I have to relook at that. But ace of pentacles, 4 of wands. Says he is the red banner. Judgment, called liberation. Now this is 9, so this is indulgence. Why am I'm drawing a complete blank? Well, you all know what it is. 8 is strength, 9 is what? Wait, that doesn't make sense. No, I have to look at the book. Hold on. Is that the hermit? That doesn't make sense, does it? Well, let's see why it doesn't make sense to me. 9. Well, oh, that's why. Duh. Okay, it's not purple. It's blue. It's the Knight of Cups. Okay, I feel better now. Sorry about that little wander. So, Queen of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles. I love that. 7. Turning point. And that would be Chariot. 6 of Wands. Triumph. So you get the idea of these cards. So anyways, it is... what did I do with it? It is by Ma Diva Padma. That's the... yeah, I think she did the deck and the guidebook. So there's that. So anyways, I've really enjoyed working this. Thank you, Simon, for bringing it back into my attention. The other one I've really enjoyed working with is the Star Maiden Tarot. He may have just done a thing on this too, but I've been working with this deck for quite a while. And I love it. It's by Hannah Kirchen. Kirchen. This is the guidebook. Chunky little guidebook. With full color and really nice. It's just very nice. The deck itself is stinking gorgeous. First of all, it's slippy as all get out. It has, except for the... And I love the backs, except for the frickin' logos. They just wrecked it by putting those here, but on either end. But it's still reversible, so not that big a deal. And it is gilded with a beautiful... It's hard to do on camera, but it's a beautiful kind of aqua blue, and it's held up pretty well. And I really enjoy the artwork. I think Dustin just did a brief talk about this particular deck on his Sunday show. And and it's interesting because it seems very Swedish to me. Norwegian. What's the I can't. What's the combined version of that? All of that, but it's very cool artwork. It's very simple, and there's a lot to it. It's simple, and yet there's a lot to it. Let me look at that 10 of Cups. I love that. The banner, the moon, the greenery. There's just an awful lot that is special about the artwork in this particular deck. And I really, really enjoy working with it. And I don't know if I can get close enough for you can see, but it is a linen. It's not linen, but it's a linen style cardstock. Very stretchy, flimsy, beautiful shuffle, which I won't share here because I'm just the where I'm sitting doesn't allow that very well. But anyways, if you've been on the fence about this one, I just can't recommend it more highly. And with that being said, I was beginning to feel like a bit of a shill for decks, and I'm not. I'm telling you what I like right now and what I like about them. So that particular deck is one that I really like. Another one that I've really grown fond of and have been using quite a bit recently is the Neoteric Feminine Tarot. Now, I'm not normally partial to Feminine Tarot decks. I don't know, I'm a woman, I get it. But I like some masculine in my decks. And this deck is not overly, I mean, it's all women, basically. But I think there's a man or two floating around in here. But I've never, so did I show you I did. So comes the chunky guidebook. No, I don't think there's, yeah, it's just words, no pictures, which is fine because you have the cards. These are the backs, very beautiful. I love the simplicity of them. And I really enjoy the artwork of these cards. It's a little on the pastel side for me, but not enough to put it down. But I gotta tell you, I love that sound. Tabata Tarot has a lot of decks that have that kind of that sound. I just love it. It's kind of a slick. It's not slippery like the previous deck that I just showed. But it's not it's a matte finish, but it's not sticky. It's not a sticky rose petally thing. It slides really open, so you can fan it pretty easily, and it just has that great, beautiful sound. I love it. So really I really like this deck a lot. And the readings have been super special. It's very, in my opinion, I know a lot of it has to do with just how you read and how you take in a deck. But I will tell you that this deck has winded its way into my heart just by being kind. It's just kind. It's truthful and kind. And I really like it. And so if you're looking for something like that, a truthful and kind, it's also gilded, and it's a nice gilding. It's not that scratchy gilding. Looking for a kind, honest deck. It's a chunky deck, and I side shuffle it. I finally discovered how to do that. So for smaller hands, it might be annoying, but I love it. So with that being said, I was going to say decks that. And I kind of was thinking of doing a special tag, and I might down the road. I always say that, and then I never do it. But decks that worm their way into your heart, and you still don't know why. In other words, you're not particularly attracted to the artwork. You're not particularly attracted to anything it does, the colors, whatever. And yet it's a deck that you continue to pull out again and again and again because for whatever reason you have bonded with it and you don't know why. And for me, that is I don't even know the name of it. It's a Y spell deck. It's these are the backs. You can find it on their website. I'll put a link. And it's got kind of gold, a little bit of gold. It's not. You can see it's semi-shiny, but not uber shiny. So it's there, but not uber shiny. And then the colors are basically kind of a custardy yellow, black, and gold. I mean, that is the color palette. Not my favorite. I'll be honest. And honestly, I don't know why. I can't recall what got me into actually being interested in this deck. But I got it. And it just well, because it's absolutely RWS. That's all it is. It's a clone, I guess, classic clone. But oh my God, it reads really nicely for me. I love it. I mean, the mustard color is actually one of my favorite colors, but with the white and the black and the gold, it lays a little flat for me. And yet, every time I pick this deck up, it's just like, oh, hello, we're home. It's so bizarre. And in my mind, I'm thinking, did I ever have I ever bonded with a deck until now? I don't know, because that's what this feels like. When I have a question that other decks are giving me grief for, making me jump through hoops for, get out the Y spell, and I love it. So, let's see. I'm going to mention the field tarot because I started to use the field tarot, and I got the field oracle, the familiar way oracle or something. It's the oracle deck that goes with this. Chef's kiss. Love it. Same cardstock, same size. I'm not going to show you any cards, but I was going to say if you're on the fence about getting the oracle, get the oracle. I'm not an oracle girl. I'm just not. I buy them because I get influenced a lot, and there's a few that I like. For instance, just got the pocket version of through the Hay House deck club. Sent the pocket version of the Wisdom of the Oracle, and I'm really glad they did. I also just canceled it because it's all Oracle. They never give you any tarot, which is kind of why I signed up for it. But I'm really appreciative of that particular. Anyways, the field. I don't know why I was talking about that, but if you're interested in the field and you're curious about the familiar version of Oracle by this same author, don't hesitate. Just run and go get it. It's great. You won't be disappointed at all. And then the other one that I want to mention, and I'm very excited about it, and do I have... Ugh, I hate it when I take it out of the box and put it in a new bag, and now I can't remember. I'm going to move you out for a minute so I can figure out which bag it's in. What did I put it in? I don't think it's here. Oh, right. I remember now. It's in the, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm sorry. Oh, I've got too many in this pile. Where is it? Where are you? Obviously, too many decks. Too many things to deal with. Oh, what did I do with it? I can't even believe that I can't show it to you. Urgh. What did I do with it? Think, Nancy, think. Stars. Yes! Okay, it's right here. God, it's right in front of me. I had to think about... I wasn't thinking about the bag. Kind of an idiot. Just got this bag on Etsy. Isn't it pretty? Stars, silver, and then they let you pick a little charm. I picked the stars. Can you see them? Like that. Totally cool. Sorry that took so long. My bad. Anyways, it's called the Secret Mirror Tarot, and they just had a Kickstarter for a colorized version of this deck. So excited. These are the best backs on the planet currently in my book. Also a linen style cardstock. Very lovely shuffle. And the card, this artwork is not necessarily something I would normally gravitate towards, but for whatever reason, I just did. And it's, I don't know, I just love it. And the color palette is gold and red and black. White, obviously. And there's roses on everything. So it's borderless, but it has these cool little banners down below. So it's called the Secret Mirror Tarot. And they're doing when I got this deck, I don't have them here to show, but, or do I? When I got this deck, maybe I do. Oh, I do. They sent along 2 cards from what will be the colorized version of it. Look at that. Ah, I'm so excited. It's so pretty. So I'm pretty, and it's not super cartoonish. It's just, it bumps up against the edge of that, but not enough to bother me. It's just beautiful. So, and this deck has really been fun to play with, and it's very similar to me like the Weissfeld deck I was talking about. The one that it's not necessarily in my wheelhouse in terms of artwork and color palette, and yet for some reason I go back to it again and again and again recently to enjoy that particular deck because it's so cool. And it for whatever reason, it speaks to me in a way that other decks don't. I'm just beginning to figure this part of this whole thing out, which has taken a while. But I'm excited that I have. Anyways, so thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for staying with me for this entire length. If you if you have, bless you. And I'll be. I've been I've been really busy this summer, but I've been kind of saving up some stuff to talk about. So hopefully I'll be showing up a little more often in your feed if you're still with me. So thank you so much. As always, Star and Flurry out.